Well, good morning, everybody, and it's very early in the morning, and don't tell anyone, especially Trent Palmer, but I have stolen the Freedom Fox, imported it into Microsoft Flightsim 2020, and I'm taking off from Stead Airport in Nevada, looking for Trent Palmer's runway and house. Now, if Big Maps is up to date, then of course I should be able to find it without any difficulty whatsoever. But we'll just have to wait and see what the outcome is. So, in case you've not heard of Trent Palmer and the Freedom Fox, the Freedom Fox is a kind of iconic bush plane amongst bush plane enthusiasts. Trent Palmer has come pretty close and won a few prizes, but he came pretty close to beating the famous Draco a few years ago at a STOL landing competition. And he had about a quarter of the power of the Draco, and certainly not as much lift, but he did very, very well. And recently he's been building a house out just north of Reno in Nevada, along with his wife Haley. Now, Trent Palmer boasts that he flies drones for a living and he does bush planing for fun, which is a pretty cool lifestyle if you ask me. And if you take a look at his house, even though it's supposed to be a prefab, it's not exactly what we call a prefab in the UK, but a rather luxurious pad. Anyway, in one of his videos he actually told us pretty much where he is based, and so we're going to fly up the valley now and see if we can find his place. Now, if you're doing Flightsim in Flightsim 2020, you've probably got airport markers on, and there will be a marker that you will have passed on the way up here. And just to let you know, Trent is about 1 mile north of that marker, and the key thing to do is to ensure that you come down on the correct path out of these mountains. What I'm doing is simply following the road up here, because this is what he did in a video he made about his first landing on this airstrip some time ago. In fact, it was so long ago he had a smaller engine in his plane than the one that we're using today in this model. I'll just let you see the external of the model, because the Freedom Fox is really quite a beautiful aeroplane. I'm not going to do too much sort of external viewing of it, because to do so is kind of a bit distracting if you're trying to pilot the plane at the same time. I find it so. I know there are some people that actually prefer to fly their aircraft from the following position, but I actually prefer to fly from the flying position. As a matter of fact, I don't really like this model very much. The dynamics in the Freedom Fox, which is made by Big Tyre Productions for X-Plane, and this is kind of like their port for Microsoft Flightsim 2020, is a bit quirky. They give you two liveries, the Freedom Fox and the standard kind of Kitfox demonstrator. both of which look very nice externally, and they look very nice in the hangar. However, they're not the nicest aircraft to fly. I find them a little bit quirky. In X-Plane, I've flown the Eurofox by V-Sky Labs, which is a similar aircraft, and it's much nicer to fly than this one. Ooh, here we go, we're already here. So, as you can see, there's something up here, but it doesn't really constitute a house. It doesn't really constitute even the beginnings of a building site. So obviously Bing Maps, when they modeled this, was a little bit out of date. And there are some anomalies in this flight simulator, although the simulator is actually quite wonderful in terms of scenery. It does have some kind of quirks in it, and Trent Palmer's Missing Home is one of them. Okay, I'm going to just put a little bit of flaps on here. By the way, Trent Palmer is considered to be a sort of real personality in bush flying, but the really heroic person is his wife Haley. I mean, she is really an all-American hero, and I say that because she's actually quite nervous about flying, and anybody that does something, they feel the fear and they do it anyway, is the real hero. So hats off to Haley Palmer, because she feels the fear and does it anyway. Trent Palmer, I mean, he's just kind of very competent at what he does. And also, he doesn't take unnecessary risks. Or if he does, he doesn't admit to them on video. Anyway, we're going to have another go at finding his place. Now you can find it, there's this little curve in the road, and then somewhere along the top of this kind of brown hill is the runway, which isn't here, but what there is a road. So we're going to try, probably not very successfully, to bring ourselves down short on this road. Ooh, there's a flying car, very futuristic. But here we are coming up the road, and that's about, whoops, as far as I can take you. In fact, it's completely as far as I can take you today, because we've just put the nose down on the Kitfox. So I hope you enjoyed this little video. I certainly enjoyed making it for you, and we'll see you again in another flight sim video soon. Thank you for watching.